Well, this one is gonna be that. This one won't be funny. All right. This is actually a serious matter. Okay.
Okay.
We got Sony taking Spider-Man back from the MCU. So I know you're not a big Marvel guy, like comics or movies. Um, but if you guys don't know, back in the day, Marvel wasn't making a lot of big bucks, so they had to sell out a lot of their assets. But just like for movie rights and whatnot and merch and stuff, back in the day, Sony had actually bought Spider-Man from Marvel, and they made like the Tobey Maguire movies and like the Andrew Garfield movies. But over the years, Marvel slash Disney had been acquiring some of these back one by one, so they could kind of like have like have them all together.
Hmm.
And so they had Sony wasn't gonna sell Spider-Man because Spider-Man's like the superhero. You know what I mean? When you think superhero, people think Spider-Man. So they decided to like make a deal where it was like, hey, we'll make a movie together. You know what I mean? It'll be our character with like your money and universe. And so it was all working perfectly fine, everything like that. And then Sony just announced that they want him back. Disney wanted 50-50, and Sony was like, no, like we don't want 50-50. We want like we want like more. You know what I mean? They just kept asking for more. And then Disney was like, well, we'll just buy the character. I think they said like $1 billion. And then Sony was like, no, like we're not trying to sell him off. So right now there's like a huge dispute over it, and like people were like boycotting Sony. I think it was like announced like 2 days ago, and all over the trending tab on Twitter was like boycott Sony, or like get Spider-Man back, or like
Why?
all these things.
Why would people boycott Sony? Why is that a bad deal for Sony to just go back to? Explain to me that.
Well, because okay, so they had given us Spider-Man, right? And then so the whole past 10 years have been setting up this major plot point in the Marvel movies, right?
Mhm.
And then now like the whole Marvel universe is gonna take place around Spider-Man now. That's the whole next giant push, like the next 10 years. And then now Sony's just backing out and kind of fucking over the rest of the universe. You know what I mean? So right, pretty much it's just
Well, because they're seeing the buckets of money that Marvel's
yeah,
bringing in.
exactly. So they're saying like, that could be our buckets of money.
Yeah.
So but I mean, so Sony's done it in the past where they've made 2 Spider-Man movies and they haven't really led anywhere. You know what I mean? They kind of just like died off in their own way. And
Yeah, Spider-Man 3 was ass.
yeah.
That last Tobey Maguire one with the emo Spider-Man.
Hmm. So I mean, and, like Marvel's pretty much saying like let's just like make money together. You know what I mean? And then they like Sony's like saying like no, we want the money for ourselves. You know what I mean? We want all the money.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So I mean that's where it comes down to. But people are saying now that this is all just like a publicity stunt. I'm seeing a lot of that on Reddit and Twitter. People are saying, wait a minute, we have like this. It's called D23. It's when like Disney covers like the next like 2 or 3 years what's gonna come out. You know what I mean? Whether it be Star Wars, Marvel, or just like Disney in general. So people are saying that they're trying to create hype. You know what I mean? And then like at the end of the show, they'll bring out Spider-Man and say like, oh, like we made a deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean that's the whole big thing right now. Sony's saying we're gonna take Spider-Man, and then Disney's saying why, and then people on Twitter are just fighting. Like right now, people are like defending Sony, and people are defending Marvel. That's the whole thing. That's pretty much it.
I don't know. That seems odd. I get it now. Like as soon as Marvel starts making a shitload of money, now Sony cares.
Yeah.
You know, I remember in like the early 2000s, the Spider-Man video games. Those are pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You know, but Spider-Man has always been a Marvel Comics character.
Yeah. One of Stan Lee's last words to one of the comic book creators was like, "Take care of my boy." You know what I mean? Because that was like his baby. You know what I mean? That's like what he made. So that's like one of his famous last words. And then like it just sucks to have like, oh, we can't use this character in this movie because this company won't let us. You know what I mean? So like Disney's just trying to get everything together. Like, cause like imagine like a Justice League movie without Batman because another company owns it. You know?
Yeah, I think that Marvel could just pay whatever.
Well,
I mean,
no, that's the thing is that Sony's like not taking the deals. Like Disney's been offering to buy them, and they're just like no, because we know like in the long term we'll make this. You know what I mean? 7 times over.
we'll see. I mean, if they keep pissing people off and nobody buys the PlayStation, whatever, the next one they come out with, then they might change the tune.
Which sucks because like those are all just like different departments. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Sony movies is different from like the PlayStation Sony, and that's different from like Sony cameras, and that's different from like Sony computers, and that's different from like Sony phones. So like I don't know, they're really just like fucking over the other Sony properties by like just being, I guess, not really selfish, but I don't know.
But let us know in the comments. Are you Team Sony or are you Team Marvel?